Hello there, I'm John Michael. This here is my baby. I call her Sheila. Alright? She's a soundboard, a mixing soundboard. And she's a 5-way circuit board. 5 ways because there are 5 switches. One switch is very sneaky and it's on the right hand side of the board itself, right back here, right there. And if you switch it, it allows everything else to be turned off. Now honestly, there is no order for these switches to be turned on, but sometimes you might hear a little boom. There's a next one. Big red button, can't miss it. It says on. You flick that up. Next one is over here, kind of black and blends in. It says on and off again. And then these two, fairly easy to remember, right above each other. 1 and 2. And that's it. All these lights should turn on, and that's when you know it's on. Just see. Once you know all these lights are on, that's how you know it's all on. If it's red, it means it's muted. If it's not, it means it's not, and the channel is open, sound is ready to come through. Can I carry on?
Okay.
Good to see you again. We're back with the soundboard. As you know, light is on, channel is muted, light is off, channel is unmuted. Now today, there are a few things you need to know about the soundboard. This right here switch is the main mix. Now if you're having problems where you've checked the soundboard and you've checked that all the things are open and all the things are plugged in and it's not working, it might just be because you have this all the way down and it controls basically all the sounds of all the channels that are open at the same time, which you don't really want to tamper with that much. And then over here at the top you have these switches, these white ones at the very top here. They are called the gain, and they basically control the feedback so that you don't really hear that or that static sound that you hear whenever you're talking to a mic. And then basically for a mic especially, we use number 5, and if you are someone who's very short and the mic is very tall, you want to turn that thing all the way up because it means you're farther away from the mic. But if someone's speaking very close into the mic, you want to turn that very much down. We normally keep it just there for now. Again, I said 5 is the one we normally use for mics, and for speakers we use number 4. Again, mute them, unmute them whenever you want. And then again, if problems and you can't seem to turn on the soundboard or anything, it might not be any of these switches. You might have done all the switches correctly, but you might have just forgotten to turn this thing on at the bottom here, because sometimes that happens. Sometimes you forget. And that should be it for now. Oh, as well, we've labeled them here. We've labeled them poorly, mind you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. These plus the sound effects in mic 7. They're usually used for plays and wireless mics, which are basically little pads you keep on you for the actors and speak into without actually having to hold anything. It's just mainly used for plays or productions or anything like that. And that's it for up here. Just to specify, in case you didn't get any of this, these two are the ones we mainly use in assemblies. Channel 5, by the way, these numbers right here, they all mean channels. And channel 5 is the main one we use for microphones. And channel 4 is the one we mainly use to plug into laptops for sound or speakers. Right? Again, in assembly, if you don't want any of the children or teachers to hear the videos or music you're playing, you might want to mute this. You might want to make sure it's red before you start playing the video. And just give us a thumbs up when you want us to unmute it, or give us a okay if you want to check if it's muted or not. And again, we know when to pause 5 for the mics for the people. Just to clarify again, these are channels. These numbers here, up here, are channels. And these numbers down here, they're labels on a microphone. So right, this one here says 1. That means that this channel, number 18, is connected directly to universal thing here, 1, which we connect to microphone, which we connect to a wireless mic we call mic 1. And I know we've labeled it flimsily, but we plan on making it in order so it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so far, we pretty much only have 7 mics.
Okay.
Boom! Did I scare you? I'm sorry. Back to the show. This black box here, this contains all the channels that you'll most likely need. Channels for choir mics, or regular mics, or speaker wires, as we normally do in assemblies. Choir mics we usually do in special assemblies anyway. So you pull this black box up, and it's labeled numbers, as in the numbers that are on the channels up in the soundboard. And what we do is, as I told you, number 4 is the one we use for speakers. So you take your wire, and by the way, the wires end for the speakers will most likely look like this one and this one. Those are the wires you use. You got to make sure that it looks like that if you plug it into this one. So you take number 4, which is the one for the speakers, and you just plug it in. Alright? That's not that hard. And then you take this wire and you run it back to the table. I think we should cut now. Nice to see you again. We're back, but this time we're back with mics. As you know, this is your mic stand. It goes up and down depending on how tall the speaker is. And as you know, this is your mic. It's not plugged in. You got to make sure it's plugged in before someone starts speaking into it. Here, this red line right here is how we know that this is what we use for our mics. Now, it's not always going to be red, because in case a wire breaks, we might have to replace it. We don't have the same red ones. Which, by the way, if you're ever in trouble and you run out of wire, which are not in that black box, you might want to go see Mr. Galvin, because he has plenty of spare wires. Anyway, you look inside the mic here, and you look for the appropriate one like that. Right now, this is inappropriate because it doesn't really fit. So you got to find the one that fits it properly, which tends to be the only other side that it has, which looks like that. So you make sure it's faced in the correct way, put it in, and you put it on the mic stand. Normally we keep the mics muted until we actually need to speak into them. Alright, and again, we use channel 5 for mics. So you look for the number 5 here on the black box, and you just plug it in. Right now it's muted, so if we try and speak into it, we wouldn't get anything. But if you want to ever check, make sure you have someone else up there to unmute it and, you know, check it. Now, if we follow this line over here, this sound line, which is connected into channel 4 currently, we follow it over to this table. We come to where we normally set up our laptops for slideshows or presentations or hymns, which we need the assembly to sing. Oh, before one thing I forgot to mention is this is a black box we keep in that cupboard right there behind the choir stand, and it basically keeps all the wires we use and remotes, put down screens, and turn them on and off. Anyway, let's say we had a computer right here. What we do is we make sure that all the switches are turned off down here, like this switch here, and we make sure that all the things are plugged in appropriately into this VGA extender. And then we take this and we plug it into the HDMI setting of the laptop. Now that's not it. That's not all, that's what I meant to say. If you take the sound wire now, and you plug this one into the headphone mic. That way, you get sound and picture betting you know how to put on the slideshows and stuff. And that should always pretty much be it. And if you're ever stuck and this video doesn't help you, these instructions might, even though you might not understand all of them. And that should be it.